Quiet on the set, please.
Hello, test, 1, 2, testing.
Captain, we're ready to get started. Just take a seat over there.
So I thought we could start with the whole I did my own stunts angle and sort of roll into my method for accomplishing this brooding stare.
Yes, we'll get into that in a second. But first, could you comment on the disappearance of Clank?
Oh, right. Little guy. What do you want to know about him for? You've got El Numero Uno superhero right here. Look at that, huh? There's your superhero. You can't see it, but there's a tribal tattoo under there.
That's nice, but if you could just give us your version of the events.
I'm sorry. I thought we were here to talk about my new holo film, My Blaster Runs Hot. I mean, I wouldn't even be able to tell the story without some sort of visual. Do you have any crayons?
We'll add in the visuals.
All right. It began a couple of years ago. I was manning my post as chief volunteer at the Planetary Defense Center when a deadly space armada began attacking Metropolis. Naturally, I could have handled the matter myself, but I was compelled to escort a group of underprivileged orphans to safety. I contacted Ratchet and Clank and deputized them to act in my stead. We soon learned that a vile tyrant named Percival Tachyon had amassed a large army and set his sights on destroying the galaxy's thriving Lombax population.
Ratchet is the only Lombax.
Are you sure?
Pretty sure, yeah.
Huh. Anyway, Tachyon was after a device that would enable him to bring back a banished race of creatures known as Cragmites. Little did he know, a mysterious race known as the Zoni were giving Clank new abilities, including laser arms.
But they were doing more than just giving him abilities, weren't they?
Well, there was something about premonitions and yada yada yada, but the heart of the story is here with old CQ. Using my keen intellect and deceptive skills, I planted myself within the Emperor's ranks and tracked down the Dimensionator.
Which you promptly delivered into the hands of Tachyon, enabling him to release the Cragmite Scourge.
A mere bump on the road to victory, my friend. We still destroyed Tachyon, banished the Cragmites, and saved the galaxy. But then, in a shocking final twist, the very beings Clank claimed to have aided him snatched him from the Apogee space station, never to be seen or heard from again.
Well, that's not necessarily true. Ratchet discovered his location in an uncharted system on the edge of the galaxy. Its capture had been orchestrated by Dr. Nefarious.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that. I, of course, was on the set for my new holo film, My Blaster Runs Hot, which, by the way, you have yet to ask about.
One of the greatest heroes in the universe. Your colleague is captured by your nemesis, and you stay behind. Didn't you hear the call to arms?
Of course I heard it. But when you get to be as big as me, you have to let a few of those babies go to voicemail, you know? Kidding. Had you for a second. Of course I'm going to help Clank. Me and Ratchet planned this whole thing. Hello? Call to arms? Just kidding. It's my assistant. Raoul, fire up the ship and call Ratchet. I've got a hero to save.
The elders once said, time is a living, breathing thing. Powerful, beautiful, and oftentimes cruel. It can humble the strongest army, shape mountains to its will, and turn entire oceans to dust. But time itself is not free from jeopardy. There are those who seek to control it, corrupt it, change it to suit their dark will. And if that ever happens, the universe will need a true hero to stop it. Are you ready?
Hello everyone, this is Roxas1559. Welcome to my newest playthrough of Ratchet and Clank Future, A Crack in Time. Ratchet Clank Future: A Crack in Time was created and developed by Insomniac Games, published by Sony Computer Entertainment in 2009 for the PlayStation 3. Ratchet Clank Future: A Crack in Time takes place 1 year after the event of Ratchet Clank Future: Quest for Booty, and a couple of years after the events of Ratchet Clank Future: Tools of Destruction. And with that, we will finally be able to answer the question, what happened to Clank? But what is my history with Ratchet Clank Future: A Crack in Time? Ratchet Clank Future: A Crack in Time is the entire reason why I bought a PlayStation 3. The entire reason. There was no other game I wanted for this system than Ratchet Clank Future: A Crack in Time. And part of that was for two reasons. One, in 2009, Insomniac Games were really heavy on pushing the advertisements for Ratchet Clank Future: A Crack in Time. And oh my goodness, I love those advertisements to this day. You saw actually the original E3, I believe it was the E3 promotional trailer, an announcement trailer from E3 2008 that played before we got to the title screen of A Crack in Time. At the same time, I also watched a Let's Play of A Crack in Time and fell in love with the gameplay and the story of this game. This is by far, in terms of story-wise, for the entire Ratchet & Clank series, my favorite Ratchet & Clank story. The humor is on point, the animation is beautiful, and the environments are gorgeous. In fact, I think some of them, if they were put on PS4, would look better than Ratchet & Clank PS4's reboot. I know I'm wrong in some aspects of that, but really A Crack in Time is the one game that graphically really pushed the limits of the PlayStation 3. Now, I mentioned that I watched a Let's Play of A Crack in Time back in the day. In fact, it was Scottish Duck 17's A Crack in Time Let's Play, very short-lived the time this game launched, that got me to want to save up for a PlayStation 3 and A Crack in Time. I knew Future Tools of Destruction existed, but it never really captivated me like the advertisements and the gameplay I saw from Scottish Duck 17's Let's Play, like it did for A Crack in Time. Now, I said it was very short-lived. Why is that? A Crack in Time is a very dangerous game to Let's Play, ladies and gentlemen. Why is that? Well, Viacom, the company, really loves putting claims on A Crack in Time. Now, you might be wondering, what does Viacom have to do with Insomniac Games? Nothing much. They are apparently a shareholder inside of Insomniac Games, and thus, as a result, love to put on content ID claims and other types of claims on A Crack in Time videos. This was a very big problem back in the early days of YouTube, where Viacom would claim and put copyright strikes on many videos that they either tangentially owned by a very small amount or didn't even own at all, because there was nothing really to stop them. And while the YouTube system still has that problem nowadays, it was much worse in 2009. So as a result, there are some cutscenes in A Crack in Time that will automatically flag you for a content ID or worse. And I'm going to be playing with fire on this. I want to leave in cutscenes for this project. I don't want to have to cut out cutscenes. The type of cutscenes that mostly end up causing the issue are new weapon cutscenes, because unlike previous Ratchet & Clank games, there are little animation intros for each new weapon that you purchase. And these little intros are animated in a completely different style from the rest of the game. And those videos will cause you to instantly get a claim. A way to get around this is just to remove those, but as I mentioned earlier, I kind of want to keep those in because they're really hilarious. And while there are videos of it that exist on YouTube on channels I don't really care, I want to test and see, because I never got a definitive answer from someone I knew. Hello Japan is the one who I'm referring to. He's on the side of my channel in case you were wondering. He LP'd A Crack in Time and said that there were content IDs or some type of claim that would constantly happen, so he cut out the weapon cutscenes. I never actually or really remember what kind of claim it was when I asked him what kind of claim it was, so we're going to be testing things. If they are indeed just content IDs, you will be seeing the weapon cutscenes in the game. If there's something more, like banning them from a certain country or muting the video, then I have no choice but to remove them, as much as I don't want to. I really want to keep cutscenes in this game, but I also don't want to risk my channel getting deleted. But how will we be handling Ratchet & Clank Future: A Crack in Time? This is kind of a long episode 0, I realize this. But Ratchet & Clank Future: A Crack in Time is going to be a little bit of a different game that we handle. For one, as I mentioned beforehand, like inside of Quest for Booty, difficulties were added in to Quest for Booty, and were also added in for every Ratchet & Clank game going forward. We have Casual and Adventure for beginners, Medium and Adventure for intermediate players, Hard and Adventure for advanced players. There is one more difficulty to be selected. And I do realize now that there are difficulties technically inside Deadlock, but I like to pretend Deadlock doesn't exist. There is Hardcore mode, which you unlock for beating the game normally, I believe. But what we're going to be doing is we're going to be playing on Hard mode. Not only that, this is the first Ratchet & Clank game to introduce trophies, because everything needs achievements nowadays, and Ratchet & Clank is no different. So as a result, we will actually be going after the Platinum Trophy inside of Ratchet & Clank Future: A Crack in Time. And that's something I normally don't do unless getting the Platinum Trophy is really easy in a game. Say, for example, Jak and Daxter the Precursor Legacy, or the Sly Cooper trilogies, which is literally just beat the game 100%. But in A Crack in Time, they have achievements and trophies that are rather difficult to get. Some that are a little bit more of a pain to get than others. Now, that being said, there are also skill points inside Ratchet & Clank Future: A Crack in Time. Unlike last time inside of Ratchet & Clank Future: Tools of Destruction, we will be going after the skill points in A Crack in Time. And you might be wondering, what is the satisfaction of getting 100% in this game, besides the fact that you get a nice shiny platinum trophy? Well, inside this game is, honestly, the last Insomniac Museum. After this, they never really did another Insomniac Museum, although inside the epilogue, the game that is basically the epilogue to the Future series, there is indeed a museum, but it's not an Insomniac Museum. But yes, the Insomniac Museum returns in Ratchet & Clank Future: A Crack in Time, and we will be going after it. To get the Insomniac Museum in this game, you do not need to get all the skill points. You need to get all the collectibles and all of the returning gold bolts in the game. Which is surprisingly odd, because normally you would have to get all the skill points, but this is also where they started to sort of make skill points an optional thing to do. But for the most part, that's how we're going to be handling the project. So to summarize, it's going to be on hard mode, it's going to be getting the Platinum Trophy, it's going to be getting ourselves to the Insomniac Museum, and it's going to be getting us all the skill points. I really hope I can get all the skill points, because there are 2 skill points. One off the top of my head, I'm going to have to start up a whole new game in order to do, because it's going to be kind of a pain in the butt to do. The other is one that used to glitch out on me in the past, but this game's had updates going for a little while after it launched, and I think that glitch that I was encountering might have been fixed. But anyway, guys, I'm going to end it off right here. This has been Roxas1359, and I welcome you all to Ratchet & Clank Future: A Crack in Time. See you all next time.